Hey guys, this is Tim with TheGuidingLeash, and one of the commands that we're going to be talking about today is one of my personal favorites. It's called the place command. So what place is your elevated boundary stay, whether it's a rug or a mat or one of those pet cot beds like the kind I have here. What we're going to do is we're going to teach the dog, when we say the word place, to go up onto this bed, and then they should stay there until they've been given a release word, whether it's free or break or whatever you want to call it. So what we're going to do is we're going to very simply start by introducing and getting the dog familiar with the bed, letting them know, hey, it's not that hard, you just get right up on here, hang out for a little bit, you get some awesome stuff, and then when I tell you you're allowed to leave, you can go do whatever you want, whether it's continuing to hang out on the bed or come off the bed with me so we can give it another rep, give it another show. So I'll demo what that's like in just a little while, but I want to kind of talk through some of the practical aspects of teaching place for you guys first, so you guys can get a handle on what some of the stuff we're going to be going through is at home before we dive right in. What you're going to do in the beginning is just get the dog proficient with coming on and off the bed. So you're going to have a leash on your dog, you're going to have a little bit of food, you can have some in your hand. I like to keep mine in my bait pouch behind me, my little treat pouch. You guys can use your pockets, jacket pockets, whatever you got to do. So in the beginning, you kind of have the dog on leash right next to you. You're going to use some light guiding pressure, a little bit of food in front of the nose. Once they're all the way on the bed, I want all the leash pressure to go away, and then you're going to put food down on this opposite side of the bed. While they're eating, you can tell them free, and then you'll step back off the way you guided the dog on, and the dog will follow you. So one of the reasons why this is so important to have them come on and off the same side is I like to teach place almost like it's a crate with invisible walls. So by not releasing the dog off of any of these other sides, they're not as likely or as tempted to leave from those sides because they've only been shown in the past, when we're working on this exercise, one way on, one way off, and that one way is the same way for both sides. So we're going to do that a handful of repetitions until we notice the dog is going on very easy, with minimal leash pressure, with minimal leash guidance. And then from there, we're going to up the ante a little bit and start to challenge the dog to be on the bed for a little while and introduce to them what exactly the boundaries are, where those corners are, and that's where we're going to see a really big change, where the dog isn't just on the bed for a second or two, but how we quickly transition up to 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and then build it from there into minutes, half an hour, multiple hours, you name it. The sky's the limit. And the awesome thing about place is it's great for your nervous dogs, anxious dogs, your fearful dogs, whether it's dogs that are a little clumsy. It teaches a lot of spatial awareness, a lot of body awareness. But what place gives dogs is a phenomenally safe space where they know, I just got to hang back and relax and do my own thing here, so they don't feel the need to engage with the knock on the front door or the ringing at the front door or the guest that enters your home. They don't need to rush over and say hi or rush over to try to scare them away or let them know who's boss. They'll hang back here and let you kind of take the lead and show them the ropes. All right, so I'll get a dog out here and I'll show you guys a little bit of what this process will look like when you have that dog with you. All right, so we've got my buddy Cyrus here. He's going to kind of help demonstrate what teaching the place command is going to be like for you and your pooch if you're struggling with this at home or working on this, or if this is a goal you have where your dog can be, hanging out with the family without being on top of the family. You don't have to worry about the dog jumping up on couches, chairs, people that are sitting down, climbing all over us. You just want to hang out and relax, enjoy a movie, enjoy your favorite TV show, have your dog out with you where he can be hanging out and be part of what's going on without needing to be on top of what's going on. So this is a great command to kind of let them know, hang out, relax, decompress, and be along for the ride. So I've got my leash on, I've got my slip collar, which is like part of a slip leash. I'm fine if you want to use a martingale collar or if your dog needs a prong collar, as long as it's something that connects them, we can have snug and up high right around the neck. That's going to give you a little bit more control. It's going to be a little easier to guide them onto the bed. I'd steer clear typically of harnesses. It's a little bit harder when they want to go one way or they get distracted by something to help them focus and figure out what we're trying to teach them. I've found in my experience if you have a lot more control over the head of the dog, it's a little bit easier to steer them where you want to go, and it's about providing that constant leash guidance for them to show them what it is we want for them so they can figure out how to get the awesome stuff, how to get the treats, what it is that we really are asking of them and want them to do. So I'll have my leash on, I can put a little bit of food in one hand, and you see that gets his attention pretty quick. And I can put it in the hand that's holding the leash. I know, bud, you're hungry. And then I'm not going to say the word in the beginning. I want to teach the behavior, get him very proficient with the behavior before I put a name to it. It's just one of those things where by communicating less to the dog, they're going to make the connections that much quicker, and we'll see them figure out the game a lot faster than if we're trying to add the word right out of the gate and they could be confused or they're not paying attention to the word because the picture, the motion of the food is a little too distracting for them in the beginning. So all I'm going to do is light guiding pressure. As soon as he's on, no pressure. I'll put food right there. You can give him a little pet, a little good job while he's eating. He might lay down, he might stand up. One way or another doesn't really matter. And then all I'll do is give him his release word. For him, it's break, break. What you doing, bud? And then guide him right back off the bed. Now, as soon as they're off the bed, you swing them around, set them right back up. Guide him on. Good boy. Put a little piece of food down, give him a little pet. Good job, bud. Break. And then guide him right back off. Good boy. Good job. Break. And as you do this for a handful of repetitions, break, you can start to figure out when the dog's going on the bed. You can see he doesn't have a whole lot of hesitation going on the bed. So we can up the ante after you've done a handful of repetitions. It might take you 5 times, it could take you 10, 15 times, some dogs 20 times. I wouldn't really focus on the number, but when you see they're getting on the bed readily and easily, that's when we can start to up the ante. So what I'm going to start to do now is introduce the corners, which is when I'll start to introduce the name. So you have your dog right next to you, you have their leash on. What you're going to do is say the word always before the motion. So in the beginning, it's going to be word, then me moving. And you'll notice as I'm rewarding him around the bed, it's always going to be the movement after I've given him the command. Place. Good boy. And then I'll put down a piece of food. Good. While he's eating, I'll move to the next corner. Place. And then I'll bring food down. Good boy. Place. Good job, buddy. That's my little man. Place. Good boy. Break. And then once we've hit that last corner, I'll release him just like we did in the beginning on the same side we guided him on. So all we're doing there is we're teaching him the boundaries and letting him know, hey, here's food at this corner. So he really gets a good feel for what the dimensions are. And automatically we've ramped up our boundary stay from just that second or two to a good 8, 9, 10 seconds. And then we can start to challenge him a little bit more by going a little bit slower. So what that would look like down the road, to fast forward a little bit when you can practice him for a while, is a little more like this. Place. Good boy. I put a piece of food down. I might linger for a second or two, slowly making my way to the next stop, acting a little bit like a wall to keep him on the bed. Place. Good boy. Good job. Making my way down. I'm kind of the boundary to help keep him on the bed and make the right choice. Place. Good job. And then back to that corner we started on. Place. Good boy, little buddy. Break. You did it! You did it, bud! Here's my good boy! Yes, I know. And you see they very quickly start to build a pattern of, oh, well, I don't have to do a whole lot. All you're asking me is to lay on this bed. I can lay on the bed for just a second or two. And with a lot of your dogs, it wouldn't surprise me if after you've started teaching this game to them, as soon as you release them, we see them do exactly what Cyrus here did. And that's get right back onto the bed and say, hey, come on, Daddy, let's keep going. I'm hungry. I can lay down for some food. This is pretty easy. But you're such a good boy. So there's really not a whole lot to it. I would start slow, start simple. Remember at the beginning, it's just guiding them on and feeding them on the opposite end and immediately telling them their free word, their release word. This way, we're really setting them up for success because it's only a second or two that they have to be on the bed. Once you've been doing this for a while, you've gotten a handful of sessions in and the dog's getting on the bed very easily. Just like we saw with Cyrus, you would start to progress to that corner stage where you would give them the word, guide them onto the bed, feed them on that first corner, move to the next spot, and again, it's going to be word, the place command, then the motion of putting the food down. It's really important that you guys remember to put food down on the bed. Don't feed the dog out of your hand, because I want the bed to be really rewarding for the dog. I like to think of it like a bowl that they can stand in. So that's something to definitely to focus on, to definitely make sure you're rewarding them on the bed itself, just so they can get that relationship, they can pair that meaning with the dog that much faster. All right, so that was my fun tip for you guys. The place command is one of my personal favorites. I pretty much use it almost anywhere I go. As the dogs get better and better with place, and you're able to up your distractions, up your distance, you can move away from the dog and have them remain on the bed, and have them hang on the bed for longer and longer. It's something where I like to challenge dogs a lot later in life, later in obedience, where I make it not just this particular bed, but where place can eventually become a tree stump, a park bench, a folding chair, a footstool. You can really be creative with it and have fun with it, because the ultimate goal is just place is an elevated boundary stay, where they learn the boundary that much quicker just because of that natural change in elevation. It's a lot of fun for them to do. It's one of his favorite things to do. It's great for confidence building as you get dogs used to being on a variety of different surfaces. But remember, in the beginning, keep it really simple, set them up for success, go nice and slow, don't try to go too far too fast. Otherwise, you might create a little bit more work for yourself in the future for trying to have to deal with some of that troubleshooting earlier on than you might need to do otherwise. All right, if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free. You guys have my contact page. Send me an email if you guys want any help or are struggling. Feel free to use the contact page, set up a consultation and evaluation. We'll see if we can't start guiding you guys onto it easier tomorrow. Have a great day.